Hi there, this is Robin with Weight Loss Apocalypse. I can just sit here the whole time with my cup like this. Very distracting. Anyways, all right, this is a 10-minute clip from a consultation that I recorded last week. This woman found me on YouTube. She was, I think, looking for help with the HCG protocol and found, the plethora of information more in regards to eating disorders. She has actually suffered for, I think, 40 years. She started having issues with body image and thin supremacy and binging as a child, and now she's almost 50. She's actually reached out for help before. She's been through periods of bulimia, but primarily binge eating, not realizing that the whole thing kind of underneath it all was the anorexic thin supremacy that everybody who comes to me has. So this is a section of our consult. In fact, I had a hard time deciding what to post today because this consult is so awesome. This section of the consultation, we talk about the binge purge cycle and talk about how the purge isn't necessarily puking, that the extreme deprivation to get rid of your fear of gaining weight is a huge part of purging. Anything like exercise to try to, it's really defensiveness around preventing gain. We talk in this segment about how the purge and how you're going to choose to fix and prevent the weight gain from the binge changes the binge. It's just I think a real important conversation if you're looking to recover, is to really look at how the purge plays a huge part in your binge eating issue. The idea that you're going to fix the ramifications that the body has to go through if you're going to binge, whether your purge is a puke, exercise, diuretics, extreme dieting, future dieting, some type of healthy dieting, whatever it is, how that links to your binge. If you want to watch this entire consultation, the link to it's in the Patreon account, which is where I'm posting my most recent YouTube videos. In order for you to see those videos in that Patreon account, you're going to need to become a member and support Weight Loss Apocalypse, my future books, workbooks, and my current YouTube videos. The minimum you can donate is $5. Again, this consult is in there and months of videos. So here is a clip. I hope this helps you understand a little bit better. If you need help, if you would like to work with me, what you're watching in these videos are clients who have found me on YouTube who need help. So you can be a client of mine too. So if you want and need my help, there's also a link to my website below where you can fill out the information request form. As soon as I get it, I usually get back to people through email. It's me responding within 12 hours. So, all right, enjoy this clip. Thanks for your support. Because it's really confusing and a lot of people don't understand that your restriction is actually creating the emotional need for the food when you have an emotional trigger, right? Especially if it's because of your weight, right? Because you're only restricting because of your issues with body image and that social image around the way you look. So when it comes to an actual internal stressor, oftentimes you're willing to let go of your thin desires for an immediate gratification. But the only reason why you're giving yourself that immediate gratification is because you have already negotiated to let go of those foods once the stress is reduced. So you believe you're going to fix any physical ramifications with a future deprivation. And ultimately, that even makes your issues with food bigger in that moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll start tomorrow.
Oh yeah, or next week, or you know what? When I get back to California, I will fix this.
Right.
But while I'm here at my parents, I don't have control. I can't fix it. I don't have my easy, exercise routine. That's a form of bulimia. I can't get on a protocol right now, and I can't control my mom's food. I might as well just not worry about it, which is actually somewhat euphoric to just say, I don't have to care right now. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about the weight gain. I already know ahead of time I'm going to gain. So you've accepted gain ahead of time. But the only reason why you accept it is because you say, when I go back to California, it's going to go away. Right? And so in this moment, I have some ease with a future pressure underneath it all.
See, but the moment is moments. Like the moment of that ease is when the meal comes. Cool. And as soon as afterwards, I go into shame.
Okay, so this tells me too a lot about your body image lenience. You don't give yourself any lenience. Some people, binge eaters, typically give themselves more lenience around accepting the weight gain. So you probably are more bulimic, not knowing it, just because you don't puke.
Yeah, I do have a history of bulimia.
Okay. Yeah, that response, that immediate shame comes from the fact that you are not giving your body any wiggle room to gain. Whereas a binge eater inherently accepts the gain with a future idea of fixing it. That's how they go a month at a time without any type of purge. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean they don't feel bad when they do it. Doesn't mean they don't have pressure building because they're gaining more and more weight. The pressure becomes almost suffocating for a binge eater. You just experience it immediately, right?
Right.
That's the anorexic side. Have you ever heard me describe the Church of Thin Supremacy in Health Righteousness, where I talk about the orthorexic? Anorexics are the preachers. You need to be thin for your health. You need to restrict. These are the only foods that are righteous. They're at the pulpit. Yeah. The anorexics are in the front pews with their perfect bodies, and they're sitting up straight, comparing themselves to others, in line of who's the thinnest and healthiest in those first couple pews. And then the bulimics tend to fill the middle section of the church. They're the ones who used to sit up front in their thinner bodies with their perfect restrictions, but now they're failing. And they want to get back to that restriction and the ease of managing it so they can get back to that thinness so they can be visibly acceptable. But they're failing. They cannot catch up. So they have this pendulum swing.
Yeah.
Because you're not maintaining thinness. You're trying to get back to thinness. So the amount of restriction that you have to do is like double what a functioning anorexic has to manage. Because you're trying to make up for the weight gain. So it is super flippin' strict. So that's why you end up having even more binging episodes, because your strictness to try to make up and forgiveness for your fatness is more strict than someone who's not currently overweight. Yeah. It's a rough situation. So not only do you have these impulses to food, but you're also managing impulses to strict at equally opposite degrees. So your binge requires an equal opposite restriction. So you're having extreme anxiety on a daily basis. For someone who is in the actual purging bulimia, they can have this 5 to 10 times plus a day. Not just one time a day. It's however many times they binge and purge and binge and purge. And someone who purges can do it all many times a day. But they still feel the same horror around the bloat that they get every time they binge. So, sound familiar?
Totally.
Yeah, you are absolutely, from what I'm gleaning here, bulimic in your state of anorexia, right? So the back row of that church, the very back pews, are those binge eaters who are, it's so distant to lose the weight. But they fantasize about what life would be like if they were thin like these people. They fantasize what it would be like just to be in the middle pews with the bulimics. Mm-hmm. And it just feels so overwhelming that they don't necessarily, they still believe that thinness will make them happy. Thinness will give them marriage. Thinness is the route to a family. Thinness is the route to family acceptance and whatnot, but they're so removed from it that they just carry humongous burden, not just physically, but the burden is psychologically, what they're going to have to do to be able to get rid of the amount of weight that they've put on, postponing their purge. That's not you. I'm not hearing that.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I don't know if that helps you observe anything here.
Well, it's interesting because I guess I didn't, I didn't realize that, even when I'm not physically purging, I guess I'm still purging.
Yeah, through some other route. So I know for me, when I quit purging, I immediately, you have to find a way to get rid of that angst and withdrawal around feeling fat, because it makes you have these withdrawal symptoms, because your addiction is thinness. Again, that's the anorexia. So if you're addicted to thinnerness, you're going to have withdrawals as soon as you feel fat. You feel like your skin's crawling, you're having anger issues, you internally feel like you're going to blow up. And there's rage that goes with that. So you got to find a way to get rid of that immediate withdrawal symptom. And so for me, if I'm not going to puke, I got to find another exit strategy. So to run away from that feeling, or to fix the fatness that you think is happening immediately, you got to find another purge to get rid of you're trying to prevent any fat gain. You're on the defense. So much that you have to immediately resolve the issue. So that's where exercise becomes a big part of the problem, because you become compulsive about exercising after you binge for hours if you have to, in the middle of the night if you have to. It's very bizarre, thinking it's healthy to reduce the anxiety of weight gain, to prevent the weight gain from the excessive eating. Right? So it doesn't have to be an actual puke. It can be through exercise. And what you'll notice is if you change the purge, it actually changes the binge. Your binges, if you're going to puke, the binge is massive, bigger than any actual binge eater. It's massive, to the point where you can binge full binges 3 times in a row because you purge each time, right? That's humongous binges. As soon as you remove the purge or the puke, and like for me, I went to exercise, so my binges naturally got smaller. They're still a binge, but I had to manage what I was binging on with my purge. It's like trying to maintain balance, how to not gain weight. Well, if I eat this much, I got to do this much, so I'm going to try to keep it within this range. So when someone uses dieting as a purge, it changes the binge.
Dieting is the purge for me, because I haven't been exercising since I came home.
Yeah, so it changes how you're binging. It changes the depth and strength of the binge. So
dieting does?
Yeah, the diet purge versus the exercise purge versus the actual puking purge changes the binge. It changes the degree, the size, because you're not necessarily going to be able to fix it immediately. You may think it's going to take a few days. I have to quit sugar for days or forever. So it's like it's taking the purge and spreading it out. Do you see that correlation between how you're fixing the binge and how you then binge?